Correct. I mean, it's an incredibly cool experiment, a cool paper, because you have these two very closely related species that share the exact same space. They have very similar ecology. You can find them right next to each other. Their behavior at the first glance is incredibly similar. So if you don't know a lot about fish, you could think they would do the exact same thing, but they don't. And that is really, really cool.
So our big question is how cognition evolves, so how intelligence evolves. Here we had two species that had the same motivation, they were living in the same place, they were approximately feeding the same thing, so they were like very similar. And we wanted to see, okay, even if they're similar, can their intelligence be different? How do they make decisions? So we found these species which build bowers, so it's like little sand volcanoes. The males build them to attract females, and they're like cleanliness freaks, like they want the bowers to be super clean all the time. And so we found a natural motivation for these fish to do something. It was not artificial, it was not something that we had to teach them. If you put something in the bower, they remove them because they want it clean. And so then the question was just, okay, how are we going to leverage this to design experiment and to ask them questions about what's in their little heads?
These guys, these males that build these bowers, will just continue forever to remove things. If you put something in, they take it out. And this means we have a robust system that's tractable, that you can repeatedly test. And so you just have this incredible confluence of robustness, the evolutionary scope that you want, and the motivation.
So the principles of the experiments are quite simple. It's first you investigate how they decide in very simple situations. So we investigated, for instance, what color they preferred to remove first. So we printed these little shells of all the colors, all the size, etc. And we put these shells in the bowers and we were checking, okay, do they prefer to remove the orange one first or the blue one first, etc. And we have this hierarchy of their preferences in very simple contexts, and both species do exactly the same. They have exactly the same decisions. If you put an orange and a brown, they will always remove the orange one first. If you put a green and an orange, they will put the green one first. So there's really like this scale of hate, because it's a scale of hate. It's not really a scale of preference. It's like, I hate this first, so I'm going to remove it.
So you can build all of these things into these lists, and you can say, okay, given you hate this the most and this you hate only third as much, what if we combined this and that? You know, the decision becomes very hard. And do you combine these things and like balance them, or do you just say, okay, I don't care about the size of the thing because I really hate orange things?
So you're faced with this choice that you have to balance two features of the choice. And here is when the two species reacted completely differently. There was one called Decoy who really did 50-50. Whereas the other species, Furcifer, he was so focused on one feature. So that was quite incredible. And we're like, okay, what's happening there? Like, it could be that the first species, Decoy, which does 50-50, is actually choosing randomly.
I was surprised as well during the second experiment, mostly because during the first one they behaved so similarly, and during the second one they didn't at all. Furcifer moved so much faster and was so much decisive, and Decoy took such a long time sometimes to clean that I almost thought like maybe it doesn't even want to take this out. So to look further into that, we introduced the decoy effect, and so we introduced one more object which had neither preferred size nor preferred color. So they wouldn't want this at all. And if it was just because they're overwhelmed and they don't know what to do, then it would be a third, and a third, right?
But what happened is that they didn't choose randomly. They didn't care about this option, and it didn't affect and it didn't influence their initial decision. So really, they were looking at all the information there, and they were choosing, you can say, rationally. Like in the literature, this experiment is made to see if an animal behaves rationally or not. And they behave super rationally.
And so this result from the decoy effect is super interesting, because when you look at their behavior, They take a long time to decide, they manipulate the objects more, and so it shows you that they really are considering everything, and they must be looking at each one and deciding that the decoy effect is actually worse in both dimensions, which is quite an incredible result for an animal like this.
So is it better to make faster decision, or is it better to make more informed decision? Here we found something quite fundamental, that actually in complex situations they decide very differently. And what I like also is that there's no way to say which process or like which way to make decision is better. One is just deciding faster and focusing on one thing, and maybe that's going to help him survive more than the other one who takes more time and more considerate decisions. There's plenty of ways to make decisions, and there's not a good one. There's just different ones.
What this paper shows us is that from the very same basic ingredients, you can come to very different decision strategies in the wild. But for me, yeah, it's a deep evolutionary story about how you build a decision-making animal with the ingredients that you have. So for me, that was a really pleasant surprise, that suddenly the feather fin cichlids turn out to be this really powerful system for asking questions about comparative cognition.